Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport, still in Glendive, Montana. On the CB, they've been talking about from the North Dakota border on I-94 to Billings, Montana. Still shut down both ways. Guy jumped on the interstate an hour and a half ago or so, and look at that dude. Put some fucking cold weather gear on, man. I'll tell you, and I'm not that guy about foreigners. I believe you should be in this country. If you love this, a lot of foreigners love this country more than some Americans love this country, believe it or not, that I've seen. And but foreigners, man, I haven't seen one foreigner with cold weather gear. There's probably been about 50 people passing in front of this truck this morning, and probably that guy over there with the yellow jacket. That's kind of cold weather gear. I carry a snowmobiling jacket in my truck, and then my tack boots. But I also got a really, really big pair of winter boots for this situation. I mean, if these people broke down and like your truck did not run, and you guys should think about the same thing. You know, technically we're into spring, but when you're up in the cold weather areas, and I know this, I'll tell you, well, actually, I'll get back, I'll tell you a quick story. Anyways, if you don't have some cold weather gear in your truck, man, you'll freeze to death if you got to walk out of there, man. You will literally freeze to death. And I'm not kidding. I mean, in our unit, like I said yesterday, we used to go for 30 days up in the Dolomiti Mountains, up in the Italian Alps, and it was called Folgoria, I believe it was the training site, and we did it every year. Skiing, you know, how to build igloos, humping an Akio, which is a sled. You hump it like a freaking sled dog. But anyways, and you could die out here, man. Literally, you could die out here. So a quick story. So years ago when I drove for this Russian dude, he wanted to, I got my sunglasses on, not to look cool, but it's a thing called snow blindness, believe it or not. And I think as I got older, my eyes got more sensitive. So, but anyways, so we're on the Russian I drove for. He got a huge fuel discount from TAs and Petros. And so my brother Mikey and I, what's up, brother? I know you watch my videos. How you doing? Love you. He's my biological brother, but all my other brothers and sisters are brothers by Christ, right? So anyways, so we're on I-80. We're heading westbound to California. We're in Laramie. It's in the wintertime, very cold, very windy. And we come up to the 310, the mile marker 310. There's a Petro there, and I think a Pilot. And now there's a Love's there. But back in the day, it was just the Petro, which had a huge parking lot. And then a Flying J or a Pilot, I think it was a Pilot. Anyways, so we get there, we go to get off, and they got the off-ramp on both directions literally closed. They had a fatality on the off-ramp going eastbound. So they wouldn't let any trucks off. So I'm like, well, what do I do? They were investigating the site. I don't know what that had to do with people getting off the westbound and going to the Pilot, but nobody could go to the Petro. So I tell my brother, I'm like, well, he likes to fill up at TAs and Petros. I know in Rawlins there's a TA there in Rawlins at mile marker 214, and I said, I think we can make it. So we're rolling, and I swear to God, I'm coming up this hill, and the fucking truck just dies. And I get to the top of the hill, and I go all the way over to the E lane. We can literally see the TA. It's like 3 miles away, because, you know, Wyoming in some areas you can see forever. And you can probably see into the future in some places. So we can literally see the TA truck stop. And it's cold, man. I mean, it's, I don't know, 20 below maybe. It was very cold. My brother can put a comment in there. It's not a lie. So I call the Russian. I tell him the situation. He's like, "Oh man, I really appreciate you, you know." And I was a hard driver, so he didn't. I still paid for running for the fuel call, but he split it with me. So, you know, I mean, it was my fault. I'm the driver. So you get an overweight ticket, if you get this ticket, if you get a out of service or whatever. Yeah, it's it's the company's equipment. But at the end of the day, that's your CDL, guys, and that's your. I mean, if you want to keep the dirty my nails are, yuck. I gotta take a shirt and mirror. But it's ultimately you're responsible. People, this company. You don't have to. You just tell them, listen, I'm not moving this truck until you have 2 tires put on, new tires. I'll tell you another story about Wamsutter, Wyoming. So, anyways, I've had a lot of shit happen to me in my lifetime, man. A lot. So, anyways, so we called for roadside assistance, and I don't know if it was just the day or because of that incident on the 310 mile marker in Laramie, the fatality. But there were a lot of fuel calls that day, they said. And so we could literally see the TA way off like I said, about 3 miles, maybe a little more. Anyways, so we call the first one, and the Russian's calling, and I'm calling, and everybody I call the TA, and they're like, yeah, we'll probably be able to get to tomorrow. And I'm like, I started laughing. I was like, yeah. She goes, no, I'm serious. We won't. And it's during the day, so it's in the afternoon, like maybe late afternoon, early evening. She goes, no, seriously, we have so many fuel calls right now. And I was like, we're going to be fucking dead by tomorrow if we got to sleep out on this shit. So anyways, the Russian, I'm talking with my list, so I got my braces on. I said yesterday, 1 more week. Finally, the Russian tells me, he's like, oh, dude, there's somebody coming. They'll be there in a few hours. But my brother and I were contemplating walking from the truck to the TA, and the roadside service ended up showing up just an hour and a half or so later than what we decided we were going to walk, because somebody else stiffed them on the road call. So that was cool, at least. But that was kind of funny. And then Wamsutter. So Wamsutter, Wyoming. I don't know exactly, because it's out of Love's. I don't really frequent Love's. I don't frequent gay joints. I don't frequent strip joints. I don't frequent churches. I should really frequent a church, but I don't frequent a lot of those places. But I don't frequent Love's. Okay. And I needed I needed a PM. That's what it was. So I pull in, and they got a really cool lift system in there. So the guy's doing the PM, blah blah blah. And he tells me, he's like, are you sure you need it? Are you sure you need a PM right now? I'm like, yeah, I'm positive. I said, I think I'm at like 15, just under 15, or just over 15,000 miles. And he's like, man, your oil looks really good. I tell him I use that Lucas, a gallon of Lucas when I do my oil changes. You don't use it if it's a synthetic, but if it's a non-synthetic, I use a gallon of Lucas oil stabilizer. It's like, it basically comes out like honey. It's that thick. But if you're using a synthetic, there's no need to use that. Anyways, little trucker tip, I guess. Or not. I mean, some people, they don't use Lucas at all. You say, no, that ruins your engines. And it might. I don't know. I'm just saying what somebody told me. A couple people have told me. So anyways, me and this tech are bullshitting, and he starts talking about, sorry to say, foreigners or whatever, Hajis or whatever. And he's like, because we started talking, he starts telling me all these stories going on in there. Like, shit, guys coming in with these bald-ass tires. He goes, there must be a tire tree somewhere in Illinois. And he's like, I want to say Aurora or Elk Grove Village or something like that. He said, I want to say there's a tire tree somewhere in one of those 2 places. And I look, and he's like, because every foreigner that comes in here that I tell him, hey, listen, your tires are pretty much had it. And they're like, oh, no. When I get back to Illinois, Aurora or Elk Grove Village or whatever, I'm getting all new tires put on. He says every single guy that and I get it, whatever. But still, if you need tires. So back to the story, if you're the driver of the truck, you're ultimately responsible. I mean, the company's responsible for replacing and paying for the equipment, or, for whatever you need done. But you, the driver, ultimately, if you get into an accident, that's your ass. That's not the company's ass, guys. I'm sorry to tell you. Because that's why it's called a pre-trip inspection, so you can catch those things, and a post-trip. A post-trip normally, I mean, I recommend them. There's a couple times I haven't done them, and it's kicked me in the ass. Go back into my videos, and you see one about you should always post-trip your truck. So, anyways, back back to here. It's very, very cold. Very, very. What is this dude? I know you ain't leaving, dude. Are you? Oh, he's probably just breaking up the snow. These guys are just lined up over here, man. This dude's literally taking off. You go, homie. Right on. You go, brother. You're gonna find out when you get down the road. And he probably does not have a CB unless he's just straightening out his. He might just be straightening out. Anyways, you just just got rid of my windbreaker because the wind's just coming straight in from here now. But hey, you do you, brother. You do you. He must not have a CB or he doesn't have it on because they just said that I-94 from North Dakota to Billings is shut down both ways. So you do you, brother. You do you. Oh well. So anyways, it's very, very cold here. You guys should have some cold weather gear in your truck. And here's another thing, guys. So I'm in the truck stop this morning, taking care of business, right? Taking care of business. I don't brush my teeth in the truck stop. I don't wash up in the truck stop because they're in the bathrooms are nasty. But you got to take care of business in the stall, right? And the one guy, there's two guys in there with headsets, talking. And one thing I despise is, well, I wouldn't say, I have worn a headset, a trucker's headset, looks like a freaking pilot's headset. I have wore that maybe a small handful of times talking to a broker or talking to my wife. But even my wife knows now, like, I tell him I'm about to go on the truck stop, I gotta let you go. Because I take my headset off because I'm not that important. And you see these drivers, man, they go to bed with that shit on their head. Hey, don't look like a goon in the truck stop. Again, do you, but I think you look pretty silly walking in there with a headset. I mean, if you got like one of those little toofs, you know, the tooth, you got one of those, yeah, but if you got this big ass, but how important are you if you're going into it, if you can't miss a call on a truck stop, man? You got to be an important individual, man. You probably got private security and everything else around you if you're that important that you can't miss a phone call. So they got these two goons on the toilets this morning, and I assume one was a foreigner because this is essentially what it sounded like was this.
Американская фирма Truckstop Technology приступила к производству компьютеров «Персональный спутник».
What? It was like that, but a little less jazzy. So I could have been American. Maybe he knew how to speak Russian, if that's Russian. I don't know. And then the other one, so then the other guy, he was talking about on his headset. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get this darn thing to shut off. It ain't shutting off. So the other one, he was talking on his tooth, and so the one guy sounds like he's speaking Russian while he's on the toilet. The other guy's, I assume, is...
Oh, baby. Baby, I eat this shit from my... I'm dedicated to all the pretty girls.
Yeah. That's what he sounded like. So I assume it was a black dude. I'm not really sure. They could have both been blue-eyed devil white dudes. I don't know. But anyways, do they have no boundaries? Do they have no boundaries? Is nothing sacred to them? My ex, my child's transgender. I don't know if I have told the story about my daughter that is now my son. Very, very hard to understand, but at the end of the day, he's an adult. I don't know how to deal with that. But anyways, so is nothing. I don't know why I just brought up the transgender. There's a reason for it. Anyways, that's another thing, I guess, when you get old. So, but is there nothing sacred to these guys? Oh, I know. I was telling you about my son's mom. So I met her over in Italy when I was stationed there, and I was in an airborne unit. And when I bought my first house, because we weren't married and she didn't pay a fucking dime for anything. I'd be going in the bathroom to take care of business, and she would literally come and sit right on the edge of the bathtub. While I'm like, get out of here! What is wrong with you? I mean, that's you gotta have a boundary, man. Especially if you're taking a number 2 or a dump or a shit or a dozer or a growler. You gotta have boundaries, man. That, you're unless you're a baby, right? I mean, sucking on mama's titty, like mother's milk. I can see that. But if you're an adult, man, have boundaries. You don't need to be talking to anybody while you're on the shitter. I mean, again, how important are you? I didn't see any bodyguards outside the stall when I went outside to wash my hands. I saw nobody else in there except for, unless maybe his bodyguard was the other dude in the toilet stall. That's possible. Maybe it was his break, maybe a 15-minute break or lunch. I don't know. But anyways, or maybe they were talking to each other to make sure that one was safe. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have boundaries, man. It just didn't make any. It doesn't make any sense because I see it. Well, I don't see it, because if I saw it, that'd be pretty gross. But I hear it a lot, often, like very often in truck stops, where dudes are just sitting on the shitter and talking on the phone. Ugh. I don't know. My wife and I were not, and we would never be like that. I mean, she's my best friend. Hi, baby girl, how you doing? But no, the door gets closed. You don't need to be conversating with me with the door open or the door closed if you're taking care of business like that. So I'm over at Wham Sutter that same day. I'm about to leave. I go in the truck stop to take care of business, and these truck stops have like franchise food chains, and McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever. This one happened to have a Chester's chicken and the Love's truck stop. I don't know about Chester's chicken. I've seen it. I've never tried it. Like I said, I don't frequent Love's. And I go in to take care of business, and I sit down, and there's literally, I'm not kidding you, a Chester's chicken box with the bones inside the box. You mean to tell me that you were taking care of business and you're eating at the same time? That couldn't wait? Like, maybe if you got your food and then you're like, this is not, I'm gonna, oh man, I'm gonna be embarrassed when this happens. And then you bring your food in there, but still, I don't even brush my teeth in there. I would never bring food. I don't even bring my coffee cup in there. When I go, no, I'll wipe it out inside the truck. Anything that goes to my mouth in this truck does not see the inside of a truck stop bathroom, a shitter. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. That's just me. Doesn't mean I'm anything special or anything better or whatever. That's just not me. But you literally brought your Chester's chicken in and sat it on the shit paper roll, and ate it. Ah, man, no. So I don't know. That just seemed extremely funny to me. So, and I had another turd story for you guys. Well, so I'm down in Texas one time, and this is years ago, and I'm in there, and I'm kind of washing up or whatever, doing this, doing that, not brushing my teeth. It was after I tarped load. I went in there, wash up, whatever. It was like during the day, whatever. And I'm hearing because they had like the automatic flush thing. When you move in there, it flushes. And I'm hearing this flush thing go off like multiple times, man. Like, it must have been 15, 20 times. Like in a short, and there's only 2 shitter stalls in there, and one is occupied by one dude, so that's where the flushing's coming from. And I'm like, now I'm curious. So now I got to hang out and see, what is this? What's happening in there? What's happening in there? I have to see what's happening in there. I have to see. So I'm waiting, acting like I'm washing my hands now again. Waiting. And I'm looking at the stall, and I see the guy's bare legs, black dude. See his bare legs, and his shoes are on. It's hot. It's in the summertime. No big deal, but I'm like, come on, dude, hurry up. I want to see. I'm intrigued here. I got to see what's going on, because now the flushing stopped. But then it was so rapid. It was many times. You'd be curious too. Don't judge me. And so finally, I hear the flushing multiple times again. And I'm like, what is? Oh man, I gotta see this. So the door opens. Fucking banners are flying up. Kurt's all warm and fuzzy inside. And the guy is wearing a complete jean outfit. Not shorts, pants. He wearing pants. I just saw underneath, and there's no way he rolled up his pant legs. So my assumption is, because I'm like, damn, was there two of you in there? And I saw the one with just the bare legs, and then the dude came out with another dude. No, it was one person came out of the stall, but he has pants. He's got pants on. No bare legs, pants. So the dude was in there stripping. I be stripping. And he was in there, and he had to have stripped off at least the bottom half of him. I don't know what's going on. You know, it's not like business on top, party on the bottom. Maybe that's what it had. Business on top, party on the bottom. Business on top, party on the bottom. So maybe, I mean, I don't know if he could have rolled his pant legs up for all I know. I don't see that. I think he literally took his pants off and hung them up on the door like they were a jacket. And then took care of business. And that's why all the flush was in there, because he's moving around. He's taking off all of his gear. That's the only, I mean, why would a toilet flush that? I mean, like 15, 20 times in a row at the beginning and at the end, because you're redressing. I just found that hilarious. So I tell people that story, and they just crack up laughing. And then here's another shit story. So I'm at another truck stop taking care of business in the morning, and it's a full house, and there's only 2 stalls open. And I go into the first one, open a door, and oh no, that wasn't fit for a fucking tiger to be in there, or a gorilla. I mean, there was such an atrocity in there, like it looked like a shit murder scene. I'm not kidding you. It was disgusting. So I thank God there's another one. So I go in there, taking care of business, and not a couple minutes later, this dude comes and he opens the door. Now you tell me who he was, because he's like, oh, come on, dude. Come on. And he's sitting there, and he literally is bitching the whole time. Oh, come on, dude. Come on. And he had to have been cleaning up the fucking the murder scene, because he's standing, he's like, come on, dude, come on. And he's just bitching the whole time. So then, after he cleans up the crime scene, he sits down to take care of business. And we're always curious. You kind of look underneath. And dude's got white sneakers, white tennis shoes, white socks. And he's wearing, unless he took off his pants too, because I just saw bare legs. But he had his shoes off. And he had his feet on top of his shoes. So he had to take off his shoes to take care of business. That just made me crack up inside. Maybe, especially him the whole time. He says, come on, dude. Come on, dude. And truck drivers are a bunch of nasty pigs. Not all of them. I mean, obviously I drive semi. I don't consider myself a nasty pig. My shit's all clean, made up, and everything else. My truck's pretty much always clean. I'm a clean individual, I think. But yeah, that was pretty funny. That was very, very, very funny. I just found it hilarious that a dude had to take off his shoes to go dookie. I just found it very, very funny. And I tell my wife these stories, and she's just like, my God. So, and those are just a few, man. I got a library full of stories out here. I don't even call them stories anymore. I call them truths. So, anyways, I'm just being occupied because there's nothing else really to do. I mean, I guess I could get into a book. I used to read a lot on the road. I've just found myself not being able to concentrate on a book. I have 4 books in here right now. I have one that I just found when I rearranged my truck by Carol O'Connell. And I started flipping through the pages, and I had started the book. I don't remember, so I think I might actually. My wife gave me a couple books. She's in a couple book clubs. One's a real read book club, and one's a book club where they go out and kill people. I mean, like they go axe throwing and shooting, and go to dinner, have sleepovers, go to a concert. That's what they call the book club. I think they're murdering people personally. So, anyways. But I'm just wasting time. I did find a guy to, that's another thing. So I was looking for welders yesterday. Oh, here's another thing. So I call the first welder. Name's Dave. Hi, Dave. I'm Kurt. Real piece of work. Real winner. No, I don't do aluminum. And I was like, well, can I ask you a question? You got a legit shop. Maybe we could fabricate a couple plates and drill through and just bolt until I get back to my shop. Because like I said, it is a DOT requirement to have a rear bumper so nobody drives up underneath your stuff. And I always believe if it's going to be done, it's got to be done right. Goodbye. Oh, all right, thank you. Just trying to get my shit fixed. So I call this other guy, Wayne. Wayne was he was an alright dude. He's the actual aluminum welder. The other guy, Dave, Dirty Dave, we'll call him. He was an aluminum welder. So Wayne, because he just had some truck in the shop. He said he could probably get to me tomorrow night. Today's Wednesday or Friday morning. So now, being that I got screwed I got screwed by the weather, or God's got a different plan for me, right? Thanks to my boy, Darion. He left a message and said, maybe God's got God's got something else for you in store. I believe that. As I believe he's got something in store for everybody else here in this truck stop. So, but anyway, so I'm not in a worry to get this pipe down there, because in that other green Pete over there, he's got the exact same load I do. There's a couple other guys down here, they got the exact same load that I do, and they left before I did, and I don't know how they left before I did, and I was here before any of these. No, actually the green guy, I didn't see him, he was here before me. But anyways, so I'm just gonna go ahead, and there are a couple other things I'm gonna have him weld on my aluminum trailer. A couple side pockets were ripped a little bit, and I got an issue with a toolbox. Oh, I'll tell you guys that toolbox story next when I do the video on Wayne's shop when he fixes the bumper. But anyways, I was talking to a couple drivers this morning, because obviously they know that I'm the knucklehead to try to pull this guy out or try to help him. And the thing is, it wasn't like, he just had to be like if you're spinning your tires and you cause a rut, it was a pull just to get him over that rut. It wasn't even like he was in knee-deep snow or anything. It was just because he had spun his tires and warmed up the tires and caused himself to dig down. So I just really needed to get him up over that hump. That's all. So my bumper should have been definitely sufficient. Until the guys that I talked to this morning, because obviously they know that I'm a dumbass is trying to help out. This guy was cartoon stupid. Cartoon stupid. What? Holy shit, and they say foreigners don't have radios. That's a lie. Like I said, I'm just like I rag on black people, Mexicans, white. I don't give a shit what your race is or what your nationality is. You're still my brother, and God, you're God's child. You're my brother. So, anyways, it's just kind of funny. I've never heard the CB in a like a Pakistan or Turkish or whatever language, but it didn't sound like it was Spanish. I mean, I've heard radio in Spanish before. Anyways, so I was talking to these drivers this morning because they know that I'm the dumbass to try to pull out this cartoon stupid dumbass. And you're like, yeah, man, I was right behind the guy. He's like, man, you're a better. They all said, dude, you're a better person than I am, and I don't feel like I'm better than anybody. But
the Montana website says it is still completely closed.
Yep. Both sides, east and west, are closed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you're eastbound, North Dakota is all closed. Thank you.
So anyways, sorry guys. So the guys that were talking to me this morning, they were like, yeah, man, I was behind the guy. You know, he had his foot on the brake the whole time. I'm so mad at myself, man. Anyways, and again, communication. And like I said yesterday, communication's key, guys. And anything, in a marriage, and anything, partnership, love triangle, whatever. Communicate to your kids, to your priest, to your pastor, to God. Communication's everything, man. Everything. It's my fault. I chose to help him, so it's my fault. It's not his fault. It's my fault. I should have communicated with him. Hey, make sure you brake, because I've done this before. I've helped people get out of that little rut. And like I told you guys, the guy went down in Yermo, California, that helped me out. Anyways, it's my fault. I should have communicated, and I didn't. I shouldn't have. I mean, anyways, I should have told him, make sure your brake is released, your foot is off the brake. Because he blamed it. Oh, I couldn't see your brake light over my long hood. He's got a long nose KW Kenworth. Dude, I was like fucking 20 feet from you with a chain, or 15, whatever, 10 feet. I don't know how. I didn't pull out a tape measure. So, anyways, so I'm gonna get the trailer repaired when this guy has availability. So. Again, it's not going to be a gazillion dollars. It's going to be a couple $100. Plus, like I said, I'm going to get the other things welded on the trailer if he has time. But I'll tell you why this is a good thing. But you're going to have to wait till I show the welding story, because I'm going to tell you guys a story about one of my boxes that fell off my trailer years ago. Yes. And this box here, that other trailer was on our other, that other box was on our other trailer. This one here is kind of showing the same symptoms, and I'll explain it to you, but you guys got to stay tuned. Stay tuned. Anyways, all is well here in Glendive, Montana. I have a heated truck. I got a bed to sleep in. I got pillows. I got a refrigerator and a mic. I got a well-stocked truck stop, a really nice truck stop. It's the hometown pump, I think, but it's a Flying J, but it's a hometown pump, I think it's called. Very clean, very nice, very large, very big. Oh, that's so large. Anyways, so I'm you know, as bad as I am at myself, I'm still blessed, and it was a learning experience. Like I tell people, if you can't find a positive out of a negative, you are not searching hard enough, guys. There's always a positive out of a negative. So, anyways, I'm done gabbing. I just want to do a quick, it's not quick anymore, but I just want to do a video and touch base with you guys. You guys stay safe, and please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.